Hello, everyone. Welcome to our forum. Now, please, just a gentle reminder, please put your mics on mute. Once we are ready, I'm going to give it another, I'll say another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll start. So make sure that you are on mute, please. Thank you. Ms. Bhavna will be manning the chat. If you have any questions, do please post them in the chat. If you have any friends who you think will benefit from this forum, please do send them the link and ask them to join. This forum is for everyone, not just our Incluzun family, but for everyone. So send on the link to whoever you think will benefit from this. I think some of you may have forgotten to mute your mic. Please do so. Please mute your mics.
Naya TV, naya laptop, naya phone, naya WhatsApp. We call every day she don't buy. One BP. And that one fast. Because in one you know the tire. You didn't have your house. Just like say the play the phone, just the play time. So maybe 1 hour.
Of course.
A gentle request and reminder that everyone should mute their mic so that we can listen to the presenter clearly.
Right. Okay. I am going to go ahead because I think otherwise we'll be here all evening. Norma, are you ready? Let me just run through the forum decorum.
Okay,
so
miss.
all mics should be muted so that we can hear the speakers, right? If you have any questions, please post them in the chat box. We will monitor the chat and highlight the questions. And if you would like to give the answers, or if you know, if you can answer the questions that posed by the others, please do feel free to come on to and chat. I think somebody is still not on mute. Do you want to check? Because I can hear somebody in the background. Okay, so please listen first to the presentation and then add a comment, and then later on we can run through the questions as we go along with the forum. Now, keep focus on student practice. Do not discuss children names. Do not discuss any schools. Don't mention any schools, any student names. You can talk about general practices and what your strategies are, but no names of schools or students. Now, I'm sure there are some people from the industry, from the centers or whatever it is, but please do not advertise on our site. You can do it. You can come and meet us later on. We can have a chat about it. So this session is being recorded, and we will then share this on our YouTube channel. Okay. Any suggestions? Remember, we are all together in this. We are all working towards making inclusion happen. So what we want is we want to share best practices. We want to work with each other so that we can share what has worked well in schools, what has worked well in the setting that you are in, so that we can make it better for, because at the end, all of us have the same goal. We want what is best for the student that we are working with. We want best for the whether it's one or more, for the students or whatever it is that we are working with. So we want to see what works best. Other than that, if you have any questions personally for me or for Catherine or for even Miss Bhavna, you can always message us. We are on incluzun.com. Our numbers are there. Just send us a WhatsApp message and we will try to help as much as we can. Today, we have our gorgeous Norma, who's going to be presenting the forum. We are happy to have her on board. We will now support her by participating in her presentation. Are you ready, Norma? I'll stop share. You can share your presentation.
Yes, Miss. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Norma Sapao. I have been working with children with special needs for more than 5 years in the center and school setting. Well, it's always nice to start by knowing how everyone is feeling right now. Rate your energy level from 1 to 5. 5 would be the highest. Okay, let me start. I would say that my energy level is 5, as I need to be energetic as much as possible in order for me to impart whatever I could share. You may type your answers on the chat box. Miss Bhavna will monitor that. Okay. Okay, let's start. Benefits of including learners with disability in general education classrooms. There are many benefits of including learners with disability in general education classrooms. It provides them opportunities to develop social skills, access the general education curriculum, develop communication skills within the context of a natural setting, increase positive behaviors, and coping skills. Let's move this up. Okay, so next one. How can I remove this? There you go. Let me just put this up. Okay.
Maybe you need to click again and then it might move to the next slide, Norma.
Oh, this is the one that I'm going to present now. Yeah, okay. Okay. So this one, okay. Best practices in including learners with disability in general education classrooms. So teachers and learning supports must work together to create positive learning environments, appropriate and engaging instructional activities, and a system of supports within the classroom that allows all students to learn. To create such a good learning environment, educators should provide positive behavior supports, differentiate instruction, and by utilizing teaching strategies that promote active engagement and appropriately utilize the professionals and paraprofessionals in the classroom. When we say positive behavior supports, it is a proactive approach that rather than a reactive approach. Instead of responding to inappropriate behavior after it occurs and providing punitive measures, specific behavioral expectations are systematically taught and consistently reinforced in a positive way. Use positive reinforcements such as verbal praise or use of token economy system. Good job finishing your task. I love the way you're waiting patiently for your turn. Well done asking permission before leaving your seat. These are examples of a specific verbal phrases. Okay, so in here, sorry.
Norma, I think the
Yes?
slide is not moving.
The slide is not moving?
No,
It's
they are
only
not
in my slide?
Yeah, it's still on DRO,
Oh
differential
no, that's the last
reinforcement of.
part. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Go and click on the first slide, Norma.
Okay, let me do that. Because in my slide, it's like, oh share, let me see.
the one you are sharing on the Zoom. That is the one I should work with.
Okay, let me check that one.
So maybe stop share and then do it again from the beginning.
Advanced sharing. Loris, di ka rito? Stop share. Okay,
Right.
let me see. Share screen. Let me check from my, because is this the one? That's why you can see. Can you see it now?
Yes, now it says best practices in including learners in the
Okay,
classroom with
so the first
disability.
one.
Yeah.
It's not moving also. Let me start again because it's not moving.
Okay.
Why is it so? Let me share. Wait. Share screen. Let me start from this. Oh, should be working.
Yeah, it should be. It normally does.
Yeah,
And I've made you co-host so you can use it.
let me check if it's working. Okay, there you go. Can you see it now?
Yes, now it's working.
Okay, so that's the check-in. So we'll skip that. I don't want to waste your time.
Maybe can you
So-
just go back to the first one and just run through quickly again?
The benefits, okay.
Yes.
So let me just remove this. There you go. Okay. So we have here the benefits of including learners with disability in general education classrooms. There are many benefits of including learners with disability in general education classrooms. It provides them opportunities to develop social skills, access the general education class curriculum, develop communication skills within the context of a natural setting, and increase positive behaviors and coping skills. So there are best practices including learners with disability in general education classrooms. Teachers and learning supports must work together to create positive learning environments, appropriate and engaging instructional activities, and a system of supports within the classroom that allows all students to learn. To create such a good learning environment, educators should use positive behavior supports, differentiate instruction, and by utilizing teaching strategies that promote active engagement and appropriately utilize the professionals and paraprofessionals in the classroom. For the positive behavior supports, it is a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach. Instead of responding to inappropriate behavior after it occurs and providing punitive measures, specific behavioral expectations are critically taught and consistently reinforced in a positive way. Use reinforcements such as verbal praise or use of token economy system. Good job finishing your task. I love the way you're waiting patiently for your turn. Well done asking permission before leaving your seat. These are examples of a specific verbal praises. We have here different instruction is an approach to teaching a diverse group of students that meets the unique needs of each learner within the group. Work on the set learning goals that are developmentally appropriate for the learner. Utilize his interests and strengths to address the learner's skill deficits. To keep the learner actively engaged in instructional activities, teachers need to use a variety of teaching strategies that suits their learning styles. Examples of strategies are game-based learning, graphic organizers, group work, modeling, and kinesthetic learning. Kinesthetic learning is the strategy of learning through movement. You move around the classroom and use hand gestures to engage students visually and kinesthetically. You can also encourage students to perform physical activities where they move around and use their creativity. Example of this, painting and drawing, educational sports game, role-playing, acting, and many more. How do we support, we have here strategies in supporting learners with special needs. How do we support learners with special needs? Basically, we need to know the child or the learner. Know the learner's interests, strengths, and weaknesses or learning barriers. This can be done through direct observation or interview. You may ask the learner, the parents, the teachers, and other significant people. This information is also available on the child's IEP. I hope you know what an IEP is. Pairing or building a good rapport with the child is vital. Once a strong connection or bond is already established, instructional control, behavior management, teaching and supporting the child will be more manageable. What is behavior management? Okay, we have here behavior management. What is behavior? In ABA, behavior must be observable and measurable to be modified. If a behavior can be seen, it can be measured. It can be measured, yeah? So we have the so-called dead man's test, wherein if a dead person can do it, then it's not a behavior. Operational define behavior as a specific with explanations. Explanations can be subjective. Never say that I think he is sad because that's your opinion. A behavior should be observable, measurable, and agreed upon by all. Define behavior in clear terms. Okay, here's an example, a vague one. Okay, this is a vague example. Jacob is aggressive. So to define this in a descriptive way, we can say that Jacob kicks other students during recess time when he does not get his way. Another example is Mary is disruptive. It's vague. So the we can use this one as like Mary blurts out and makes inappropriate comments during classroom discussions. She knocks on the table with closed fist when the teacher is explaining or talking. Another vague example, John is hyperactive. John leaves his assigned area without permission. He only completes small portions of his work. John blurts out answers without raising his hands. Okay. Now it's your turn. Okay. Jane is sad. You can write your answers on the chat box and Miss Bhavna will monitor it. Greg is angry. How will you describe that? Okay. So let me show you. Okay, the next one. Cannot see the top. Okay, another one is here. The behavior is observable and what is this? Measurable. Talks when the teacher is lecturing, calling out in a loud voice and singing. If it's not observable when we say and it's not observable or non-measurable if you say disruptive behaviors. Draws pictures During group work time, that's observable and measurable. Throwing objects, kicking over chair, calls peers names, yells no or you can't make me when given direction, that's defiance. Okay, and I have here attention problems. This is not measurable actually. So I want you to write your answers on how to define this in an observable and measurable definition. Non-compliance as well. And Miss Bhavna will monitor as well the chat box. And if we will have time, I will give you the answers later on. Okay. Next, functions of behavior. What is a function? What is a function of behavior? It is the why the behavior occurs. Nothing just happens. There is always an underlying cause. That is the function. Reasons why children misbehave. Here are some. Doesn't get his or her way, removed from preferred item or activity, task difficulty, frustration, and boredom. Challenging behavior is the child's way of telling what he or she wants. It's a form of communication, actually. He or she may not have the skills to tell you in an appropriate way. Next. Okay, here are the acronyms for the functions of behavior. We can do eat or the sit. So escape, attention, tangible, and sensory. Okay. So we'll discuss the first function of behavior, the sensory. Behaviors can be maintained by sensory input because something feels good. This is due to automatic reinforcement. Here are some examples: hair twirling, cracking knuckles, stimming, picking at skin, and engaging in other behaviors that have no social mediation. Stimming is repetitive or unusual physical movements or noises. Examples of stimming: finger flicking, hand flopping, and rocking back and forth while sitting or standing, and flicking switches. Next. What's not moving? Next. Oh, there you go.
No, it's not.
The
Yeah,
next,
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
The next
sorry, I thought
function.
it wasn't, but it is.
Yeah. Okay. The next function is escape. Behaviors can be maintained by escape from difficult tasks, pain, uncomfortable situations, and other aversive. Examples of this: avoiding assigned tasks, avoiding social situations, avoiding discomfort, elopement, and other behaviors involving avoidance. Okay. Third one is attention. Behaviors can be maintained by attention from adults, from peers, strangers, and other social interactions. Examples: raising a hand, screaming so that another person will say, "Stop that," or "Don't do that," and other behaviors which involve gaining the attention of others. Last one, tangible. Behaviors can be maintained by access to tangibles, such as food, drinks, toys, supplies, and other objects or items. Examples: throwing a tantrum so that someone will give desired toy or item, ordering KFC meal, purchasing items from the supermarket, and other behaviors to result in access to tangible things. Okay, identify the behavior and its function. So actually, I made this one as an activity, but because I don't want to take much of your time, I will just tell you the answers, okay? The child scratches his skin because of mosquito bites to relieve itching. So the behavior would be scratches his skin, and the function is to relieve itching. And that is sensory. The child wants a chocolate bar at the grocery store. Child asks mom if he could get a chocolate bar. Mom says no. The child cries and whines more about wanting a chocolate bar. Mom lets the child get the chocolate bar. So the behavior is cries and whines. What's the function? He wants the chocolate. It's tangible. Number 3, the child kicks his baby brother until mom says, "Stop, don't do that." So the behavior, kicks his baby brother. What's the function? It's attention. Number 4, the teacher is writing on the board during English class. The child screams. The teacher says, no screaming, and the other students look at him. So the behavior is the child screams. It is the function of the behavior is attention. Number 5, the teacher distributed math worksheets for everyone. The child throws all the things on his table. The teacher instructs him to step outside and no longer required to do the task. So the behavior, child throws all the things on his table. What's the function? Avoid task and never do that. If this will happen, follow through, give him tasks. Okay, we'll discuss that later on. Okay, 4 functions of behavior. So we have the function here, what it does, when it happens, and what to do. So we have here the sensory. The sensory provides stimulation to the zone in the brain. When it happens, anytime, especially when anxious or excited, what to do? Redirect to more appropriate behaviors. Next one is escape. What it does, removes undesired activities, interactions, or situations. When it happens, when task is too difficult or challenging, easy, boring, or undesired. So what are you going to do? You can use Premack principle. It's the first and then, offer choices, break down the task. For some students, you could always you could use paired choices, because if you'll give multiple choices, it will take time. Believe me, because I tried that and they will like, I'll choose this, I'll choose this, and I'll choose that. So the best way is just give 2 options. Attention provides access or awareness to or from people or interactions. When it happens, when social attention is desired. So what to do? Provide positive reinforcement or attention before the behavior happens. So what I'm doing is that whenever I see the student is sitting nicely, I always say, oh, good job sitting. I love the way you're sitting. Or when he is raising his hand before answering, I would reinforce that. Whatever you see that, whatever appropriate behavior that you can see, you can reinforce it. Tangible provides preferred items or activities. When it happens, when preferred item or activity is wanted or desired, what to do? Provide a transition activity, object, or increase accessibility, or provide DRO. We have here the DRO, differential reinforcement of other behavior. So we have to, we can provide the learner with reinforcement when he or she refrains from engaging in the target behavior. Your goal here is to eliminate the behavior. Example, Mr. Peter gives Johnny verbal praise for every 10 minutes Johnny doesn't talk, shout in class during class discussions. So Mr. Peter is reinforcing other behavior. Okay, now ABCs help to understand the role of consequence and behavior. So we have here, okay. We have the antecedent. A stands for antecedent, B stands for behavior, C stands for consequence. So antecedent is what happens before the behavior. So the behavior is the action as a result of the antecedent. The consequence, what comes after the behavior. So in here, we could see that when the writing worksheet was presented, the child cries, and the consequence could be the teacher removed the writing task, or the teacher let him do the task, provide prompts or break down the task just for him to make sure that the child will do the task. So the first one, when the task was removed after the child cried, the child will learn that whenever he will cry, he will be able to avoid the task. So the frequency of crying in similar situations will increase. So it's better to, whenever the situation is like this, you have to make sure that you're going to help the child comply with the task, the demand that you have given. Provide necessary prompts, maybe physical prompts, hold his hand to write for example, this one, the writing worksheet, or you could also break down, like, okay, let's do the half of this one, do the first part, then later on you can come back to that when the child has a behavior momentum. Okay, so next one. Okay, so the summary, antecedent strategies. First one is we have to build and keep good rapport. The second one is Premack principle, is the first and then. Number 3 is address skill deficits. Okay, priming. You have to tell the learner beforehand what is going to happen. Number 5, tell the learner what to do. Give clear and simple instructions. And number 6, use visual supports if needed. Okay, that's it. Thank you. So we have a question and answer if you need more. Back to you, Miss Bobna.
Okay, thank you, Norma. That was amazing. Norma, could you put the last slide, the one about the strategies? I just want to discuss that a little bit more so that you did a fantastic job as always. We do have some questions, but before I get to the questions, I just wanted to run through that slide.
Okay. Where's that going? There you go. Okay. This one? Okay.
Yes, thank you. All right. First of all, I apologize. I think a lot more people were trying to get on, but unfortunately today the Zoom has kept me at 100. So people are messaging me to say that they want to come in. Unfortunately, I can't let anybody else in because the Zoom is not allowing. Right. So now these strategies that Norma has shared with us are very simple, practical, and easy to use in the classroom. When she talks about building and keeping a good rapport with your students, it just means that when you start working with a learner, be it in the classroom, at home, or your own child, the first thing you must ensure is that before you implement anything, understand what the child needs, understand what makes him happy, what makes him sad, what makes her motivated, or what demotivates her. That's very, very important. Secondly, observe her and see what are the barriers. What are you seeing in where are the problems? Where is she not able to succeed? And then thirdly, the most important is what are her strengths? What are his strengths? What is he good at? Now, with that, you can see that in order to build a rapport with a child, you build on your relationship using their strengths first. So you're going to build a good rapport with that child, and that will then help you to create a relationship. I'm just going to go on mute for 2 minutes, and I want you to think about these strategies. Please post your questions in the chat and Norma will answer. Yeah, so anything that you would like to put forward now? Now, the second strategy that she spoke about is your principle of your first and then, or your now and then chart. This is something that all of you must be using. It's very important, whether it's for a typical or an atypical child. This is the best way to help a child to understand what is required. All of us, even as adults, all of us need structure and direction in our life. So when you are in the classroom, if you know that your child already struggles with comprehending what is going on, use a set routine. Tell them,
Yeah.
okay, this is what the day starts with, and this is next, and this is next, and this is what we're going to do. And then break it down into even simpler goals. So listen, for literacy, I'm going to do one sentence with you, and then I'm going to do this activity, and then go back to them. And the best way for this to happen and to make it successful is when you allow them to have a choice of the activity for the then after they complete their task. So you actually give them a choice of the rewards, and it works very well.
Yep.
And then you are telling, basically, then it sort of covers all the rest of it. You are already using visual supports, because using a now and then you are already using visual supports. Then you are using visual support, can come in any other form, in
Visual
many
schedules.
forms.
Yes. Visual schedules.
So
cue
this
cards.
is already one way of using visuals to support your learner. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then and this is also now telling your learner what you are going to do. Okay. All right. I think I just wanted to build up on this part because it was really, really important that you all understand that there's a lot of strategies. Now, Norma was very clear in her explanation of what the behavior is. She also touched briefly on your ABC chart. The ABC chart is also another tool that most of you should be using, because what it helps you to do is it helps you to identify where a behavior, identify and track. So the important thing is that you are tracking a behavior. You are tracking an undesired behavior. Sometimes you can also track a desired behavior that you can use that desire, build up on that desired behavior, so you can take away the undesired behavior. So focusing on a desired behavior can allow you to take away an undesired behavior. So if the child is seeing that I'm not getting any response from a undesired behavior, but getting a lot of response from a desired behavior, then they will be like, why am I wasting my time doing that? I want attention. I'm getting attention from doing what is right. Difference? Okay. I am going to now open up the chat. Please do put, please, I think we have got questions coming then. Okay, now, there was a very interesting question, escape and avoidance.
Okay.
So somebody was asking, what's the difference between escape and avoidance?
Escape is the same. Like escape is when you want to avoid something. Yeah. So the teacher, yeah. So it's elopement. Maybe you mean the elopement. Elopement is running away.
Right. So the running, I think this person just wanted to understand the terminology of avoidance.
Yeah, avoidance is something that you don't want, something that you don't want to do.
Yeah, and
so
Bhavna
do
was
everything.
saying, so Bhavna was saying there's not much difference. He said basically you are avoiding a task, and then the escape behavior is when you get away from the task. So what the child will do, like when the teacher says, yeah, you don't have to do the writing. So that's the escape behavior. And so the child avoided the task. Then there is one question asking,
Miss Catherine, can I just add, since we're on that, the escape, I would like to add like strategic responses on the escape. So make sure that when you're doing this, you have to follow through the demand. Do not allow the child to escape from demands, because otherwise it will be a learned behavior, and you know that learned behaviors are difficult to unlearn. Okay, you can also teach to request for breaks appropriately or use break card signs. Okay, last thing is the behavior momentum. You have to sandwich difficult tasks with 2 to 3 easy tasks. So this means that you have to start with an easy task first before going to before presenting a difficult task. Because sometimes when the student will say like, okay, you're giving him a math question and started with a word problem. So the tendency will be that the child will escape. But if you are going to show him the easy part, he will be engaged in that, and then later on you could give them the a little bit more difficult, and difficult, the difficult one. That's
Oh,
another strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Norma. The sandwich is a very good idea.
Yep.
So start with an easy task, because
Mhm.
basically what you're doing is you're building up on the self-esteem of the child. So
Mhm.
that's what you want to do. You're building the self-esteem, the confidence, so that you can then challenge the child with slightly more challenging tasks.
Mhm.
Now somebody is saying, how can you deal with lying, habitual lying? How do we do this now, Norma? A child who is constantly lying.
And my question is, do you know you're certain that this is lying? Like, for example, like, do you mean that he lies like, I don't know how to do this? Is that what he means? Because some of the students used to do that. Like when you're going to present him something, they will say like, oh, I don't know that. Is that what she means?
No, she said, let me, him, I don't know whether it's a her. Juliet, are you here, Juliet?
Can you elaborate first? What?
Juliet, you are happy to come on? You want to
Yes.
unmute and ask the question?
Okay.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone, or
Mhm.
evening.
Good
So
evening.
the challenge is
Mhm.
this learner
Mhm.
will lie from small lies to big lies in order to escape from anything.
So that's
And
good. Mhm.
yeah, unfortunately, once I try to teach on the consequential teaching.
Mhm.
This lying is not good and so on and so on, then the a tantrum starts.
Mhm.
I don't know how best I can deal with it.
Mhm. Okay, so the first thing is you said that he is lying to escape, right?
Yes.
So I want you to check, based on my experience. I'm not that expert, but based on my experience, when the child says a lie just to escape, there might be underlying cause. Like maybe the task is too difficult for him. Maybe he doesn't know the basic skill. Like for instance, if the child's avoid addition activities, check if he knows how to add. Does the learner know how to count forward? If not, teach counting forward and then teach the concept of addition. Teach addition with intent using different strategies such as real objects, images, or counting using fingers. Once mastered, then try adding up to 10, 20 and so on. So those kinds of things. So maybe the difficult is too difficult for him. Or maybe he's bored. That's why he will lie. And the thing that you're doing, like you're explaining to him, and if you're not certain that, I'm not sure if you're certain that it's avoidance or escape, the mere fact that you're giving an attention, he will throw tantrum. And that's how he will escape, because when he cries, he flops down, he gets what he wants. So
Right.
for me,
Yeah.
in my opinion, if the child is lying, I will just ignore that. If he says, I don't know this, I don't know it, I will just give him another task, but lower it down. Like if you're giving an addition problem, you have to try to give in, like, for example, you're giving 2 digits addition, try the single digit addition. And if it does that, then you can go back to that. But don't let the child escape.
So
One
Did I
scaffold
answer?
basically make the task easier and then
Yes.
scaffold his learning.
Yeah, and provide
Scaffold his
support.
learning.
Provide
Yeah.
support. Yeah. Use the prompts.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
I hope that answers your question. Now,
Yes.
another one has asked me about a child shouts in class while lesson is going on and screaming to go out. Do you allow or encourage the child to stay in the classroom?
Mm-hmm. So this is the same same situation that I'm having right now. So we deal the situation by knowing the function. So for me, I know that the child is screaming or just calling out loud, like non-vocalization, non-functional vocalization, because he wants attention. So the strategy that I'm using is actually what do you call this one? I am conditioning the environment. When he is not around, I am telling the students that when he does silly things, the student shouldn't be laughing at him, because I have a good good connection or good relationship with the other students. So whenever my student is not allowed, I will tell them that, okay, class, if that learner is doing some silly things, flopping or just screaming some banana in the classroom, don't laugh at him. And I'm giving stickers to them as well, so I can see the changes, that whenever he is shouting or he's making some silly things to get attention and the students will just ignore, they will stop. Same is true with the teacher. So the teacher, when he's calling out like that, he will just ignore, or when he raises his hand before talking, then that's the time that he will pick him. So, but when it's too much that it will disturb the class, I would walk him out. So walk him outside, and then we have a small table there outside wherein I will still let him do the task. So I will just first and then, yeah.
So basically, thank you, Norma. That was very well explained. So you get the what this child wants is attention from the people around him. So you get the class involved in this. Like she said, give rewards to those who are ignoring his behavior. But whatever happens, whether he's in the classroom or out of the classroom, if he wants to go out of the classroom, you set the task outside the classroom as well. You take the task. We will sit outside the classroom, but the task must be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was a good question.
And for attention, we have to teach to request for attention appropriately. So you can ask him like, oh, if you can tap my shoulder, or you can say, yeah, look at me. That you can teach him outside when not in class. Okay.
Yeah.
There
Okay. There's
A7.
another one. Oh, sorry, Bhavna. Did you want to say something?
There is Galaxy A7 2018. She has raised her hand from long.
Oh, okay. Do you have a question, Galaxy A7? No response. Okay, I think maybe she doesn't realize it, or he doesn't. Okay. Now there's another question. How do you deal with a child, crying and screaming child that's so prone to noise and loud sounds? You must teach the child and introduce noise cancelling headphones. Noise cancelling headphones have saved so many students from leaving the classroom. So Philip, I believe, have you spoken to the parents? Now, either the school can provide you with those noise cancelling headphones, or you can ask the parents to send in with the child. Of course, consult the inclusion team on it and tell them this is happening. They will then suggest that the parents can send the noise cancelling headphones. That will immediately, you will see the difference immediately. That's not a problem at all.
I agree.
Okay, how can I deal with a 16-year-old with ADHD, hearing, and oh, that's a big question. ADHD, hearing impairment, and behavior issues. Well, you will have to apply the whole range of strategies that we have just discussed. You will need to build a rapport. You will need to do the building of the self-esteem. You will have to understand the sensory, because with the ADHD, there will also always, most of the time, there will be sensory needs. Okay, how can I check a child's sensory need? Because the loud noises come from the class activity. You can speak to the inclusion team and ask them to assist you with this. This sounds like it's something that the inclusion team needs to be aware of. Who is this? Good evening, ma'am. Child upset, what do you mean?
That's very vague.
Yeah. Child is upset means when the child is maybe crying, screaming, all of this. Yeah. Okay. A girl shouts in class when the lesson is going on, screaming to go out. Do you encourage? Okay, we've answered this question. We have to understand where it's coming from. If it's task avoidance, make sure that the task is done outside of the class. So they understand that whether you are in the class or out of the class, we're going to do the task. She will not sit properly in the class. then she will sit with friends. Okay, now this is building up sitting tolerance. You have to train them to build up sitting tolerance. So sitting in the classroom will mean that you are going to, are you talking about tabletop activities? Are you talking about group activities? There are many different ways of doing that. Okay, how can I deal with a child who snatches the phone once he sees a phone somewhere? Okay, so this one is obviously this child is obsessed with a phone. So he needs to understand appropriate behavior. Try
requesting.
Yeah. Try social stories. There are a lot of social stories that you can use. You can also model, over-model good requesting habits. You can show how you do it. Keep practicing it with a friend. Ask a friend, somebody in the class, to do it with you, and then reward that child for doing it correctly. Right? Please, how do you deal with the student on the spectrum who bites to express their feeling? Okay, so now this is obviously a sensory need. Biting is always got to do with sensory. You need to have a teething tool, which again, the inclusion team must get involved with this. You must explain to them that this child is biting. So go back to them and say, this child is biting. The parents then need to send a teething thing. And when does this biting happen? Is it because the child is overstimulated, understimulated, right? So you have to make sure that you fade off, you have to pull the child out from a situation before they reach that point of getting too excited and they will bite. So if you see that certain activities excite them, then what you do is don't do that activities. Use behavior first with them, explain to them what is right, model, use friends, explain what is happening to this child. And then when you see that the child can manage, so put them back in the activity, but pull them out before they reach the stage of being overexcited. Doesn't want to sit. One wants to encourage the child to go outside. One wants to sit. She wants to sit in the class. Okay, I'm going to run through because goodness me, there's a lot of questions and I don't think we'll have time to answer all of them. Right, I think you are helping each other to answer, so that's good. A child with ADHD and autism, use the strategies that we have discussed. Yeah. I want to speak with him. Okay. So now, if you want a child to communicate, the first thing you must do is you must help the child to build rapport with any other children in the class. So if you have, this child has a special friend, what you can do is you can start creating activities where they can spend time together, 5 minutes, and then you have a conversation with the friend. Then then your student will then see how you are having a conversation and they can learn how to do this. Okay, guys, I am going to have to sort of wrap up because we are running out of time. So I'm glad that this topic created such a good lot of questions. I do hope that it helped all of you in understanding what you can do in the classroom, understanding how to deal with your student, and work with the children who you are working with. I hope it helps with building up, because I've just got too many questions to answer here. I'm so sorry, it's just running. Group session, okay, this one is interesting. How do I deal with a child who does not like a group session but prefers one-on-one? So what you can do is you can sit this child away from the group, but you can get involved with the group session. You are modeling the expected behavior. Now, why doesn't this child like the group? Is it because it's too noisy, or what is it? You have to find the underlying cause of why this child doesn't like it. If it's just because maybe the child, it may be as simple as a child doesn't know how to interact in a group. You can model what is desired, or you can put on the headphones to help with that, or you could take the child out for a run for him to have a sensory to stabilize and then come back and do an activity with the group. There's so many strategies that you can use to help the child to regulate and then come back and do the activity. All right. Okay. So thank you, Norma. We really appreciate what you have done. This is really created so many responses, and people are really are asking the questions, and they are dealing with this. Faisal, I will have a chat with you later. You can post that question on the Incluzun family group and we will work with you on that. All right, thank you everybody. And our next forum will be the next month. If any one of you would like to come forward and share on the forum, please do. You see, Norma is working with us, and now when she spoke about what she knew, I asked her to come forward and speak and to share with all of you. You have learned so much from her. Please, you guys have so much of knowledge. You have so much of experience. Come forward and tell me, Miss Harmeet, I would like to do this, or ask me, is there a topic that you would like to talk, or share it with Miss Bhavna and say, Miss Bhavna, can we do a topic on this? Can we do a topic on that? Whatever it is. All right. So thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening, and we will meet soon again. Oh, no, hang on. This is November. Oh, December is holidays. So we'll meet again in January. All right.
Miss Catherine, I think Ayo is raising her hand. Is it a girl or what? Ayo.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Someone is raising her hand. Ayo?
Yes,
Maybe.
please.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, Ayo.
I'm so sorry. Before you round up, I really want to ask this important question.
Yes.
I have a child. He hit himself so hard on the head. Whether he's angry, whether he's sad, whether he's happy, we don't know. And I've been trying all my best to try and control that. But he still hit himself and later cries at the end of the day. So I'm trying to know, what can I do to actually stop him from hitting himself so hard on the head?
Go ahead, Norma. How would you deal with this?
Oh, I think for that, since you don't know what's the reason, what I usually do is block his hand. Don't let him hit his head, because we are we want him to be safe. So I have a student ask actually who is hitting. When he's angry, he wants to be alone. But the thing that I'm doing is like, okay, when he's angry, I don't talk to him, because the more that you talk to him, the more he gets angry. But when the situation gets difficult, like he's hitting his head and you don't want him to hurt himself, you can block him, because that's what we're doing in the center. Block his hand. Don't let him in.
Yeah,
but don't talk.
Yeah. Thank you, Norma. And also, a lot of you are saying sensory. Yes, Ayo, there is definitely a sensory need. So that is actually a form of steaming as well. So you need to understand why the hitting is there. So if you look at it as steaming, what is it that he's trying to communicate? So look at it that way. Now block him first, like Norma said, block him and don't communicate. No eye contact, disregard him, just keep him safe. And then you build up on that. When he sees that there is no attention being given, he will then stop doing whatever it is he's doing. If it's steaming, then there is a sensory need, something that he's trying to fulfill. Can you maybe, before you can see it starting to build up, before he starts to build up, can you take him to the sensory room? Can you take a sensory brush and brush him? Can you put him in a dark tent? Can you give him, what do you call
Squeezy
those?
ball.
Squeezy ball or a water timer for him to look at. This is trial and error. You need to find the cause of it then you find something that works for him. I hope
And
you
it's
can
always
try that. Ayo?
Yes, Miss. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, and of course, start your ABC. Ayo, start your ABC chart. Thank you. This is Rubina.
Thank you, Miss Norman. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to end the forum now because I will send the recording. I hope everybody has a lovely week ahead. And thank you so much for attending. And my apologies. I wasn't aware that we were only allowed 100. I don't know. Maybe I did something wrong or that we were only allowed 100. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. My pleasure.